What is up, y'all? I am the dating pool guy. Clean up the dating pool through reactions, through advice, etc., etc. Today, we have an interesting video. Another story recapped. I love their channel, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, it's pretty cool how they tell stories. So let me see. This one is to pay her husband's debts. Winner of Raffle wins her love for 4 years. Golly. That's crazy. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and check this out, man. That's a crazy concept. Let's get into it, then I'll go further. Let's see.
A beautiful, desperate widow drowning in debt agrees to become the grand prize in a secret lottery for the wealthiest men in the city. Late one night, Francesca wakes from her deep slumber to answer the ringing phone on the bedside table. Due to the urgent nature of the call, the woman immediately phones her lawyer friend, Cesare. After she gets dressed, she checks on her sleeping daughter Giulia and gently kisses the girl's forehead. Later, the lawyer picks up Francesca and they drive to the site of a vehicular accident swarming with police officers. The woman recognizes her husband's car, and when a cop tells them to move away from the scene, Cesare points out that she's the wife of the person involved in the accident. At the morgue, a prosecutor from the district attorney's office leads the pair to a room. On a table is a lifeless person's body covered by a white sheet, and Francesca spots the toe tag with her husband's name written on it. However, when the mortician reveals the corpse's face, she insists that it isn't her husband, and the embarrassed employee realizes he switched up the tags on two different bodies. So, the group heads to another room in the building, and when the woman sees her husband's lifeless face, a tear rolls down her cheek. Eventually, Francesca returns home and silently sits next to her sleeping daughter, unsure of what the future brings following the tragic loss. Days later, the widow attends the funeral with Cesare and her father. The woman drops her handkerchief on the ground, and as she picks it up, she catches a man sneaking a peek down her blouse. At the airport, the father asks Francesca if she's certain that she'd like to stay in the city.
Hey, let me say this though. She is attractive, fine. Francesca, I know this actress. She was so my favorite movie is The Matrix. I know y'all might not care, but maybe some of y'all do. Favorite movie is The Matrix. She was in the second one. I think she's the wife of the French dude. That's her. Fine.
Suggesting that coming home to be with family might be best for her. However, she says she'd like to remain in their house because moving Giulia away from her home and her friends might traumatize her. The man points out that she was her daughter's age when her mother passed, and he remembers how strong she was during the ordeal. Before he boards his plane, the father asks if Francesca needs money, so she admits that 3 million lire is all she has because she doesn't have access to her husband's account. However, the widow assures the man that she doesn't need his help because she'll figure everything out. Later, in Cesare's office, the lawyer informs the woman that due to the failure of her late husband's business venture, he was hundreds of millions of lire in debt. He adds that the debt now falls to the deceased's heirs, namely Francesca and her daughter. The widow asks if insurance can pay off the debts, but Cesare says they won't because her husband was responsible for the accident. So the woman brings up her spouse's life insurance, but the lawyer reveals that the man told him to cancel it 6 months ago.
What?
Cesare swears he tried to dissuade the client from doing so, but he said he needed the money. Determined to pay off the debts, Francesca says she'll sell the beach house, the yacht, and the car, but the lawyer thinks it still won't be enough. Later, the widow tells the maid Rosaria that she might—
Wait, time out. She's selling a yacht, the beach house, and I missed the last one, but that's not enough. Enough for what? I know that's that's millions of dollars. That's not enough for what though? Also, that lawyer kind of moving snaky, not gonna lie. All of a sudden he canceled his insurance. I don't know.
have to let her go because she can no longer pay her. However, the loyal maid says she doesn't care because she'd like to stay, and even offers to lend the employer money if she needs it. The next day, the woman heads to an upscale boutique and speaks to her friend and store manager Christina about working at the establishment as a sales assistant. Eventually, The manager introduces Francesca to the other employees, and she starts working immediately.
Okay, putting the work in.
Hours later, Serena and Carla, the woman's friends, enter the boutique and are surprised to see her working a minimum wage job. Though the pair feels uncomfortable with the situation, Francesca isn't ashamed of her occupation and treats them like regular customers. That afternoon, Guido, the store owner, approaches the new employee and kisses her hand. Suddenly, the man touches Francesca inappropriately, so she backs away and grabs a clothes hanger to defend herself. Christina appears and admonishes Guido for his behavior, and even though she apologizes for what happened, the slighted employee quits. The next day, at the marina, Cesare asks the widow to sign the necessary documents to complete his purchase of the yacht.
Real quick.
The man hands over the check, and when she sees...
Sorry, it's tripping. Real quick, man. Never be that guy, man. No means no. If she's saying no, don't go. If you're at that point where you have to run and grab this woman, you need help. You need serious help. There's a pass down bad. That's criminal. Don't be that guy. Don't be grabbing. Yo, come on, man. That ain't the move.
That the amount's smaller than she expected. The lawyer explains that it was all he had, and he feels he paid a fair price considering the vessel's condition. When Cesare invites her to join him on a boat ride for a few hours, Francesca politely declines and says she needs to go. Days later, Serena and Carla visit the woman, and they see several men carefully carrying out artwork and furniture from the house. The widow explains that she wants to auction off all their belongings, and the women offer to organize the event. At the auction, one buyer wants the black dress that Francesca's wearing, so she takes the woman to a room. Moments later, the buyer steps out wearing the dress, while the widow is in her undergarments. Then, she covers herself up with a coat, and leaves the event to take a walk by the ocean. One evening, the widow has dinner with Enrico, Cesare's politician friend. The man expresses his desire for them to be together, so she reminds him that he's married with 3 children. However, Enrico counters that it won't be an issue since his family's in Rome. He adds that he knows all about the woman's financial woes and says he's willing to pay her rent and Giulia's tuition, and even give her a monthly allowance in exchange for her company.
All right, I'm sorry I keep pausing it, but let me say this. Man, any guy that's watching this already knows what it is. If you are an attractive woman, like, there's attractive women, but like Francesca, who's very like, she's not just attractive, but you could tell she's the wife of someone wealthy. Like, she knows how the business goes. Well, she didn't know how his business worked. Sorry, Francesca. But, I mean, she's like hardworking. She's a true mother. She respects herself. Well, up to this point, I mean, like a classy woman. So she is in the area and in the realm of wealthy men, so she knows how to navigate. There's one thing that I had to come to understand when it comes to, like, you know, the guys that date the same woman, like certain celebrities, certain basketball players, like athletes, whatever in general, they date the same woman. And then all the regular guys, you know, we're like, yo, like, why do they could get another model, but what they look for is, like, one, that's their dream girl. So they probably have been looking at this woman and been like, man, if I could just have one shot with her, like, that'll make my dream happen. That's one. Two, though, they see that she knows how to navigate. Even though she's gotten in trouble or like she has a bad reputation, she still knows how to navigate those men and be in those circles. So they're like, oh, she's right here. So this man was probably always looking at her like, Francesca, though. So he was just waiting for his opportunity. Even though he's married, he's like, still, I don't care. So women like this are usually going to be all right. Like, they know how to navigate these circles. It's the truth. It's tough.
The next day, the landlord informs Francesca that her late husband suspended rent payments 13 months ago. So she pretends as though she's aware and promises to pay off the debt as soon as possible. That evening, the widow joins the commander for dinner, and he gives her an expensive necklace. However, when the man...
Francesca, all right. That girl's bad. She good. That girl is bad.
Steps away for a moment.
Wow.
The woman finds his dentures in a glass of water. Shocked and disgusted, she removes the necklace and places it in the glass. Later, Francesca shares what happened to her friends, and they laugh at the funny story. Suddenly, Carla's husband Sandro enters the room and says their kids need her. After the woman steps out, the widow sees a familiar fur coat in the closet. So, Serena reveals that their friend bought the garment at the auction and had a furrier make her a new one using the material. The following night, Francesca invites Sandro over to the house and seduces him. They do the deed on the bed and the man admits that he's always loved her. She points out that he and his wife seem to have the perfect marriage, but he says he hates Carla and thinks she's hideous. Then, the widow states that because Carla now owns the fur coat, he needs to buy her a new one. Sandro realizes that Francesca only used him to get what she wants, and he angrily gets out of bed and puts on his clothes. So, the woman threatens to tell Carla about their trip.
I mean, what else would she want you for, bro? I mean, no disrespect, but a little bit. I mean, come on, bro. She didn't want you. Whatever.
And all the nasty things he said unless he delivers a new fur coat by noon tomorrow. The next day, Serena sees the widow receiving and putting on the brand new fur coat. Then, Francesca heads to a furrier to sell the garment, and she uses the cash to pay off the rent. With the rest of the money, she pays off a month's worth of Giulia's tuition and purchases a used car. The next day, Carla tells the woman that Sandro didn't have the money for the coat and asks that she give it back so she can return it to the store. However, the widow says she already sold it for cash and used it to pay for her daughter's tuition, the rent, and a used car. Carla knows Francesca slept with Sandro, so she reveals that the woman's late husband was cheating on her for years with a lady named Camilla, and he was with the mistress the night he died. The next day, the woman speaks.
How? I gotta see her then, because that's crazy.
To Camilla, who says the affair started 3 years ago. On the night of the accident, she had asked the man to choose between her and his wife, and she says he chose the wife. Heartbroken and betrayed, the widow returns home, disposes of all her late husband's pictures, and flushes her wedding ring down the commode.
He cheated.
Later, Francesca tells Cesare that she'd like to set up a raffle or lottery with her as the prize. Confused, the man asks her to elaborate, so she explains that she has to earn money to provide for herself and her daughter, and she's also aware that a lot of men want to be with her. The woman adds that the only thing she has to offer is her body. So she asks the lawyer to discreetly spread the word to the wealthy men in the city, and tell them that they can be one of 20 participants in the raffle if they pay the 100 million lire bet. Cesare asks what exactly the prize entails, and Francesca says she'll be the winner's lover for 4 years. However, the man warns that she might destroy her reputation if people find out what she's doing. So she reminds him that everyone else knew her husband was having an affair except her, implying that people know how to keep secrets to save others from heartbreak. So, the lawyer promises to draw up a contract with the regulations of the raffle as she specifically requested, and that he'll spread the word to interested parties.
Alright, real quick. Yo, that's crazy. Okay, let me say this real quick. Like I said, like, ladies know how to get, they do what they gotta do. Not definitely, I don't think, she's an intelligent woman. Like, I don't think that is, like, that's not all she's good for. I'm gonna say that. Like, she's an intelligent woman. You could tell she knows how to get the business done. She knows how to do stuff. Only thing that I would say, though, is, like, a lot of times when you're used to a lifestyle, that's what gets people. When you're used to a certain lifestyle, you don't want to come back down. I remember somebody did an interview with Amber Rose, and Amber Rose was saying, like, she was like, I think once she broke up with Kanye, she knew that she wanted to stay up there. She was like, I'm not going back. A lot of ladies feel like once I reach a certain caliber, once I reach a certain level, I can't go back to how I was before or where I was before. So they figure out ways, and a lot of times this is the way. They find another wealthy man, or like they just get in this type of stuff where they're like, I'm gonna be my own boss, but it's gonna take certain things. I gotta leverage certain things, but once I get it, I'm gonna be good, but I'm gonna keep this lifestyle. Like, she's not giving up this lifestyle, which, hey, I mean, it's tough because, like, I can say I don't agree, because I don't. But at the end of the day, I understand, though, because it's like, I've never been to this level of wealth, so I don't know. But now I know one thing: like, can't sell my soul. My soul's already with the Lord, but with this kind of level, like, who can say? Who can say what you'll do? So she's like, I'm keeping this. And the big thing that I respect, the last thing I say is that it's about her daughter. Like, she's like, I'm getting her tuition. Like, we gonna make it. So I respect that. But the way she's doing it, I just don't know. Never been there before.
One evening, Cesare takes Francesca to a black tie event, which some potential participants of the raffle will be attending. At the party, Enrico approaches the widow and asks when the registration for the contest opens. She promises that he'll be the first to know, and he confidently says that he'll win. The next day, the widow speaks to a husband and wife who paid for one raffle entry each. However, Francesca expresses her apprehension since she thinks being the third party in an open relationship can get complicated. Days later, Cesare tells the woman that one potential participant wants to see her first before committing. So, the widow enters a hotel room and notices the person hiding in the closet. Then, she stands in front of the mirror and removes her coat, making sure that the person sees her clothless body. Moments later, Francesca hides behind the stairwell door and waits for the mystery participant to emerge from the room, and to her surprise, she realizes that it was the commander. Meanwhile, the other contestants ask the lawyer about what'll happen if the widow changes her mind after a year. Cesare says that the woman will receive 500 million lire for every year she completes, so if she terminates the contract, the winner gets what's left of the 2 billion lire collected from all the participants. The next day, Francesca's mother-in-law says that she's confirmed that the rumors about the raffle are true, and she wants Giulia to live with her. However, the widow strongly refuses even when the older woman threatens to sue her. Later that day, she spends some time with Mr. Neri, another potential contestant. The meeting starts fine, but when the man learns that she's only doing the lottery for money, he angrily calls her a vulgar woman and orders her to leave the property. One morning, in the preschool parking lot, the irate Serena says that she knows her husband Gustavo signed up for the raffle. Francesca swears she wasn't aware that the man entered the contest and promises to do whatever it takes to remove him from the list. Then, the widow storms into Gustavo's office and demands to speak to him immediately. They exit the office, and the man, who's revealed to be the notary who helped draw up the raffle's regulations, says he won't back out of the competition. Francesca begs him to reconsider, especially since Serena's her best friend. But Gustavo counters that Carla was also her best friend, yet she had no problem sleeping with Sandro.
Ooh.
So, the woman asks him to do it for her late husband, who was his best friend. However, the man points out that every single person who signed up for the raffle was her husband's friend. During a fancy party, Camilla approaches the widow and reveals that she's participating in the lottery. Later, Francesca heads to Cesare's place and asks him to return the contestants' money because she wants...
These men and women both want her. Hey, I get it. It's a beautiful woman, but not the women part, but so whatever. Okay. Notice some interesting things in here. This is why I love the story recap, because like the way they tell stories, the way they go over these films, like they just give you so much to digest, man. I don't want to make this too long, but like let's break that down. Notice this man's wife came to him and said, I know he entered the raffle. Like, okay, why are you coming to me? First of all, if I'm Francesca, I'm like, why are you coming to me? It's on him. And see, this is what happens when people don't have power in their own relationships. They like to attack the outside person. But no, when you're in a relationship, that is a contract, invisible contract between y'all two. This has nothing to do with the third party. The third party, yeah, they might have known. They might be wrong too. I get it, not saying it's right. But you need to deal with your house first. That's what you need to deal with. And so her coming to her, it's like, what can she do? All she can do is go and ask. But notice that man was not budging. That she knows he don't care, but it's like, you still with him, like you're still with him. So that's not my fault. But that notice he finds her so attractive that he doesn't care if his wife knows. He's like, I'm in this and I want to win. Like, he doesn't care. It's crazy. And then notice, I got to point out what the other guy said about like, oh, the same guy, how he was like, you know, do it for your friend, which was my husband. And then he was like, bro, all of these people that are in this, this contest, this raffle, are your husband's friends. We're all wealthy people. We all hang together. So he's like, you know how we get down. This is what we do. And that's why you got to check your friends, bro, because you have some friends that will snake you. They will snake you. And you'll be thinking they're your friends, but get you a Francesca, you might find out they're not really your friends, bro. Because at the end of the day, it's like a true friend realizes there's so many women in the world. Why do I need your woman? There's so many women in the world. Like, search out. Now, if he's scarcity minded, then he's like, okay, like I want Francesca. But Francesca, I mean, I haven't seen too many people look like Francesca, but there are other women around. And if you're wealthy, you can get access to these women. So that's all I'm saying. Is a true friend knows that there's more people out there. Like there's more women out there, but these guys snaking, bruh. But also a girl needs to talk to her husband, not her. It's crazy.
To cancel the raffle. Unfortunately, he says it's too late, but suggests that they rig the lottery and have him win, so she, at least, ends up with someone she knows won't hurt her. He adds that he doesn't expect them to fall in love, but he'd appreciate it if she cared about him the way he does about her.
Wow.
The widow reminds him that he can't participate in the competition, so he assures her that he'll figure out a way.
Wow.
Just as they're about to kiss, the man's lover emerges by the stairs, cutting the moment short. The next day, Francesca accidentally hits Antonio with her car, and she immediately checks if he's all right. The dazed man comes to and smiles when he sees the beautiful woman by his side. Then, the widow takes the man inside the house to tend to his injuries, and he says he's too dizzy to stand up. So, Francesca tells Rosaria to take Giulia to school because she has to stay and take care of Antonio. When the woman says she can't do anything about the injuries on his face, the man jokes that she can try sitting on it. Moments later, he rises to his feet, but he immediately loses consciousness and falls to the floor.
He needs to go to the
Francesca
hospital.
rushes to his side and tries to wake him up. And when she sees that he's only pretending to be unconscious, she takes him up on his earlier offer and performs the intimate act. The pair ends up spending the afternoon talking and taking a stroll by the beach.
Oh, also, her fashion is fire. Whoever did her design for this movie, fire. She has some fire clothes. I like fashion, so. Oh, well, come on, baby. This thing tripping.
That evening,
Okay.
Antonio claims that he's fallen in love with the woman, even though they've only known each other for a few hours. He asks her out on a date, but the widow plays coy and says she already has plans tonight. While Francesca applies her makeup in front of the mirror, she smiles as she thinks about the man. That evening, Enrico tells the widow that he's withdrawn from the raffle because someone found out that he signed up, and he's worried it'll tarnish his reputation. Suddenly they hear a loud greeting from another table, and to the widow's surprise, she sees that Antonio followed them to the establishment. The man introduces himself as the woman's lover, and his antics infuriate the politician. Enrico tells Francesca that they need to leave immediately, but she refuses, so he drags Antonio out of the restaurant and orders his guards to beat him up. Eventually, the widow finds the injured man on the ground and asks what he wants from her. He says that he loves her, and it's only a matter of time before she feels the same way. After dropping the woman off outside her house, Antonio continues professing his love, even though she tells him to forget about her and slams the door in his face. Seconds later, the man breaks down the door, and they share a passionate kiss before finally doing the deed. The next day, Francesca and Cesare head to a mansion in the countryside, where potential participant Mr. Perini asks the widow to dress up in his late mother's wedding gown. Once she arrives home, she finds Antonio playing with Giulia, and they head to his apartment to make love. Hours later, the man sees the widow leaving without saying goodbye, so she says that they'll never see each other again. Antonio asks if they won't see each other after 4 years, revealing that he's aware of the raffle. To Francesca's surprise, the man says she can still fulfill her obligation to the winner, so the money doesn't go to waste, but that they can also still see each other in secret. However, the woman realizes that he already knew about the lottery before he threw himself in front of her car, and she assumes that he just wants to be with her because of the money. Meanwhile, the prosecutor and his men search Cesare's office because they received an anonymous complaint regarding the raffle. The man says the possible charges are promoting intimate acts in exchange for money, gambling, and unauthorized lottery.
Ooh.
The lawyer asks the prosecutor if he's seen the list of participants, and the latter affirms. Soon, Francesca is brought in for questioning, and the prosecutor asks her about the 100 million liar checks all in her name, as well as the existence of a raffle. So, the widow says it's for a charitable initiative since her late husband's friends wanted to help her and her daughter with their financial woes. She adds that to avoid humiliating the mother and daughter with an act of charity, the raffle was created. However, the prosecutor wonders why it had to be so secretive, so Francesca explains they had to be discreet to preserve their dignity. Then, the man asks what the raffle prize was supposed to be, and the widow matter-of-factly states that Cesare bought the yacht from her, so it could be the prize for the lottery. None of the participants can get their money back from the widow, so the lawyer tells them that they have to play along with Francesca's story, because her lie helped all of them evade prison time. Meanwhile, the prosecutor rushes through the airport to ask
I told you, she knows the business, bruh. She's been in it.
The widow who she thinks made the anonymous complaint. In response, the sly woman shrugs her shoulders and smiles at him. Then, Francesca joins her daughter and the maid as they head off to an unknown destination to start a new life.
Oh my gosh. I told y'all. This woman knows the business. That's why they all wanted her, because she was like, she's a mob wife, bruh. She is a mob wife. That's crazy. Yo, so she set them all up to pay that money, knowing that she wasn't gonna be with them. She ran off to start a new life, and if they try and go against her, they're going to prison. Oh my. Classic. Beautiful storytelling. Shout out to the story recap. I love that, man. I love their storytelling. This video is already long, man. Almost 30 minutes. But yeah, man. Hope y'all enjoyed that. Listen to the tips that I said in there, man. They'll help you in the future. Yeah. All right, y'all. I'm out of here, man. Peace.